Hello everyone, my name is Kylie Chang and I'm going to be talking about the music video of BTS's song called Black Swan. Today, I want to explore the weight that this music video holds for both BTS and the K-pop industry. I'll be discussing how the Black Swan music video implicitly debunks negative stereotypes about the K-pop industry, as well as the ways in which it reinforces the idea that BTS are human beings with emotions, feelings, and thoughts, just like everyone else. First, I'll be touching base on who BTS is before I get into the music video. BTS stands for 방탄소년단, which translates to Bulletproof Boy Scouts. Recently, they've changed their abbreviation to Beyond the Scenes, but it isn't used very often. They debuted in 2013 and are composed of 7 South Korean members. From oldest to youngest, their group names are Jin, Suga, J-Hope, RM, Jimin, V, and Jungkook. They have been close to disbanding many times since debut due to bankruptcy and an overall lack of success. However, their fame skyrocketed on a worldwide scale about 4 years after debut in 2017 to 2018. In 2020, they secured the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100's chart for Dynamite, which makes them the first ever K-pop group to claim this achievement. More recently, their title track, Life Goes On, took #1 as well, making this the first ever non-English speaking song that has taken this spot. These achievements reinforce the idea that music transcends language barriers, which is something that BTS has always wanted to show the world. BTS promotes positive light on K-pop, internationalism, and South Korean culture. BTS is the only K-pop group that is able to celebrate mass cultural diversity within the K-pop industry on an international scale. Additionally, they continuously strive to debunk the language barrier that many international people consider to be an issue. BTS's official fanbase is called ARMY, who are known to promote change among the wider scope of society beyond just liking BTS, such as actively advocating for social justice. Many consumers tend to skew away from K-pop for its cultural differences and their own negative perceptions of foreign music. For example, makeup on men is much more normalized in South Korea than it is in America, and many Westerners find Korean beauty standards to be weird in that sense. An unwillingness to acknowledge and respect cultural differences is inherited in the deep roots of xenophobia, which is something that many people do not realize. A newly introduced concept to the digital era is called Stan Twitter. It is common to see toxic fanaticism among fans by exhibiting behaviors of mob cyberbullying or attacking people in the name of an artist. Despite the positive parts of Stan Twitter that are commonly unrecognized, the stigma attached to Stan Twitter from an outside perspective would most likely be negative. Now I will be discussing the Black Swan music video. I'll first be showing you a section of the video that grasps the general idea of the song's meaning. Please try to glance at the lyrics as well.
But if the moment's right now, right now 귓가에 느린 심장 소리만 뻥뻥뻥 벗어나래도 그 입속으로 점점점 어떤 노래도 와닿지 못해 소리 없는 소리 질러 모든 빛이 침묵하는 바닥에 이리는 내 발목을 또 잡아 어떤 소리도 들리지 않아 Killing me now, killing me now Do you hear me 홀린 듯 천천히 가라앉아 나 몸부림쳐 빠졌어 방이 바닥나 모든 순간들이 영원히 돼 Feeling me now, feeling me now Do you hear me
First of all, I want to acknowledge that these are merely based on my interpretations, but if you're in the slightest bit interested in watching this video, I highly recommend doing so to try to see how you can interpret it. There's a lyric that refers to their first and most painful death, which would be the time that they lose their drive for music. In this video, Jimin represents the embodiment of the Black Swan. As you can see, his well-being and composure slowly begins to deteriorate through the expression of his dance movements. The song typically reveals their existential fear of losing passion for music as they attempt to face the dark realities of their inner psyche behind the stage. The most symbolic representations of the music video are composed of various binary cues that are implemented throughout. The most prominent one is the binary between the black and white attire that they wear backstage versus onstage. If you look at the picture, Jimin wears a white suit with a black feather boa, which means that his dark thoughts will always be a part of him even when he performs on stage. The front and back camera angles indicate the ever-shifting perspectives of what the world sees of BTS and how BTS must perform in front of the media. The dark versus light binary emphasizes the individuation of each member, as the camera consistently implements a darker, shadowy background when the camera focuses on one member. On the other hand, there is always some source of light seen in each group shot, as you can tell in the picture on the bottom right. In all, these binaries are representative of the constant infliction and personal battles that each member goes through as performers of K-pop and workers of music. In sum, BTS tells listeners to embrace their fears or their inner black swan. They present the darker truth of how they really feel behind the media, which is a validation of their feelings as real people. Lastly, the uniqueness of the song in comparison to their other flashy tracks help give insight into their real selves beyond the scenes. This picture is from a music video called Idol, which gives off the typical K-pop-y, colorful, flashy vibe. The song is about expressing yourself in the most unapologetic way possible. Though the vibes of Idol and Black Swan give off completely different vibes, they both steer towards a similar thematic parallel of which Black Swan embodies. Lastly, I'll be examining what the future has in store for BTS and the Korean wave. BTS continues to influence the world today, as their presence in the media is extremely consistent and reassuring. Their impact has invited and continues to invite millions of people around the world into the appreciation of South Korean culture. ARMY from all over the world practice this as well, as it is a generalized condition for ARMY to love other ARMY members, regardless of nationality, race, gender, sexuality, etc. The K-pop industry is gaining attention from the international spectrum at exponential rates, which only shines a positive light into society's willingness to normalize listening to music of other languages and cultures. Hopefully, the standards of BTS can set the precedent for future K-pop groups in the next generation of the industry. To sum up my presentation, I firmly believe that the scope of the world holds some sort of negative misconception or stereotype towards BTS and K-pop. Though it's totally understandable to have different preferences in music taste, artists, and genres, I hope that we can question ourselves and break down potential stereotypes that we carry surrounding this subject. BTS often mentions that their most primary purpose is to help people come to terms with loving themselves. Most importantly, they've allowed millions of individuals to steer their drive toward true happiness and passion. This is a quote from the leader Kim Namjoon, also known as RM. I recently found this and thought it resonated beautifully with the themes of Black Swan and the ways in which BTS carries themselves. It's fascinating to see the ways in which they're able to offer this vulnerability to the media with this statement. I hope you were able to learn something new today. Thank you for listening.